I still remember the night the wicked prince came to our town. People think I am lying, but I know what I saw. It happened many years ago, but the memory still sits in my chest like a heavy stone. The prince was not a fairy tale prince. He was a real man with real power. And he used that power to scare people, not help them. That evening, the sky was dark even though it was not yet night. Clouds hung low, like they wanted to hide what was coming. I was sitting outside with my uncle, cracking groundnuts. We heard drums first, slow, hard beats shaking the dust on the road. My uncle looked up. "That boy again," he said, his voice tight. He meant the prince. Everyone called him boy, even though he was grown, because he behaved like a child who liked to hurt small things. When the prince's cars reached our street, people ran inside and shut their doors. I did too, but I peeped through the window. I shouldn't have. That is how I saw everything. The prince came down from his car with his men. They held long sticks and bright flashlights. They were looking for someone, a young man who refused to work on the prince's farm. The young man said he was sick. The prince said he was lazy. They dragged him out of his mother's house. I can still hear her crying. It was the kind of cry that makes your blood cold. The men pushed the young man to the center of the street. The prince smiled, like all of this was a game. He said, "Next time, listen when I talk." Then he raised his stick. I closed my eyes when the first hit landed, but I still heard the sound. It was a sound I had never heard before, like hitting a coconut but softer, worse. When I opened my eyes again, the young man was lying still, too still. His mother knelt beside him, shaking him, calling his name. The prince did not care. He just walked back to his car, laughing with his men. They drove off like nothing had happened. After they left, the street stayed quiet for a long time. Even the frogs did not make a sound. People came out slowly, whispering. Nobody wanted to say the prince's name too loud. The young man survived, but he never walked the same again. Sometimes, when I see him passing with his stick, I feel that same cold fear from that night. I learned something that day. A person with power can be more scary than any ghost. Because ghosts are stories, but that prince was real, and I was there to see it.
That night was a kind of night that makes your skin feel cold even when the air is warm. The sky looked heavy, like it wanted to fall on the village. Clouds covered everything. Not even a small piece of the moon showed. It felt like someone switched off the whole sky. I stood outside our little hut, looking at the dusty road. I did not know why I came out. Maybe I felt something. Maybe my body remembered the last time the prince came. At first, the road was empty, only the smell of dust and the sound of faraway insects. Then a soft sound reached my ear. Boom. A pause. Boom. Another pause. Boom. A slow drum, deep, heavy, the kind that feels like it is knocking on your chest. I froze. Everyone in the village knew that drum. It was not a festival drum. It was not a wedding drum. It was his drum. I looked toward the end of the road, and that was when I saw the small lights, very tiny at first, like two small stars. But stars do not move like that. The lights grew brighter. Dust rose behind them, floating into the sky like smoke. The drum beat got louder. Boom, boom, boom. The ground felt like it was breathing with the sound. I stepped back without thinking. My hands felt weak. My legs felt light. My mind went straight to the night when the prince hurt that young man. I remembered the cry, the dust, the fear in everyone's eyes. It all came back to me like it happened yesterday. I opened the wooden door and slipped inside the hut. My uncle turned to me right away. His face looked tired. "You hear it too?" he asked. I only nodded. Words were stuck in my throat. He went to the door and pushed it halfway open. Together, we looked through the crack. The headlights were closer now. The dust behind them was thick. The drum was clearer, loud, slow, and angry. I heard a door from another hut shut quickly, another one shut after that, and another. Everyone was hiding again. No one wanted to be outside. The wind blew dust into our faces. Even inside the hut, I tasted it on my tongue. The air felt dirty and heavy. My uncle whispered, "Stay low." He placed his hand on my shoulder and pulled me close. I could feel his hand shaking a little. That scared me more than the drum. My uncle was not the type to shake. We watched as the lights moved slowly along the road, like something hunting for a place to stop. More huts closed their doors, more windows went dark. The village became quiet, too quiet except for the drum. Boom, boom, boom. The whole night felt like it was warning us. I thought of the young man who survived the prince's anger. I wondered if he was inside his hut now, trying to stay calm, trying not to remember. The lights came closer. Then the drum suddenly stopped, just stopped, like someone cut the night in half. That silence was worse than the sound. My heart beat fast, loud in my ears. My hands felt wet with sweat. I did not know where to put them. I kept wiping them on my shorts, but they did not dry. My uncle whispered again, "Don't move." I didn't. For a moment, the whole village was like a picture, still, quiet, full of fear. Then I heard footsteps outside, slow, heavy, careful. Someone was walking along the road, someone important, someone we did not want to see. I could not see clearly, but I knew who it was. My chest tightened. The wicked prince had returned, and this time something felt different. It felt worse, like he did not just come to scare us. He came for a reason, and the night was only beginning.